Hey everybody, Denise with Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Well, Willis and I went to Pikeville over the weekend on our annual trek to go to Wooten's Apple House, and we bought 3 bushels of apples. Let me show you. Here's the 3 bushels in the 3 boxes. We got Johnny Gold, Wine Sap, and Golden Delicious. They didn't have Fuji this year, but that's okay. We'll work with that. Johnny Gold are really delicious. We'd never had them before. So they're kind of like a cross between Jonathan and a Golden Delicious. So we always mix these apples for a really wonderful flavor for our pie filling. And today I'm going to make some apple pie jam. So let's get started. Okay, so what we need to do first is get our apples ready. And we need 8 cups for one recipe. So that's an 8-cup measure. And I've got all my different apples here. I've got my apple peeler ready. And I put an apron on because apples are sticky. And of course, I have my coffee. So 2nd cup. I've already been to town, got feed, did all my errands I had to do this morning. And I got to get working on these apples. So what we're going to do is, oh, these apples smell so good. So with the apple peeler, I don't really have to cut them, but we are going to slice, peel, and a core with this apple peeler. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut them into small little chunks. And they are going to be really small because it's going to be a jam. And oh, what's on my lip? But anyway, it's going to be a chunky jam. And it really does taste like apple pie. And I have some people that want some jams for Christmas presents to give. So I'm making this, and I'm going to probably make 3 or 4 batches of this. I'm not going to combine batches or double them because in my experience, I learned that if you combine or double batches, sometimes the pectin doesn't set up, and you do want it to set up. It's not a real hard, or it's a thick jam, but it's not a real hard jam, if that makes sense. So, but not as runny as an apple butter. So, but it's really good. It's got all kinds of yummy spices in, and it's making me want some right now and some toast. So anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get our apples going. And I'm not going to sit here and make you guys watch me do this, but if you do get a lot of apples like I do, one of these apple peelers is really worth it, because cutting them like this, over the years, you get carpal tunnel or whatever, and I'll tell you. So here I am going to do this the traditional way, taking the peels off, and I do save the peels because if y'all watch my videos, you know I make scrap apple jelly. It's really good. A lot of good juice in these, and the pectin too. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there, and we do this other one. This is just a traditional way if you didn't have an apple peeler slicer core. I sound like an infomercial. Apple peeler slicer core, get one now. But wait, there's more. So yeah, I've had too much coffee, haven't I? So anyway, you want to make sure that you have all your core out. Peel them. If you guys want to make the scrap apple jelly, it's super easy. You're going to save your peels and your cores, and you cook them down with some water, and you make an apple juice, just like you make apple jelly from juice that you bought at the store. But that's how you traditionally make jelly, is from your peels. You don't waste anything. That's a self-sufficient type of lifestyle that Willis and I have embraced for years. And even before we knew each other, we were doing that, and his mom did too. So, okay, so what we're going to do here is go ahead and see how that's peeling. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead and go through that. And this thing also cores. So there's the core. Here's my apple. It's in a slice, thin slices, which I do use for apple pie. If you want your apples to be a little bit thicker for your apple pie, then you're going to want to not use this because it does core and peel and everything. And I found out with this, if you want it cored, you have to peel it because it goes through like this, and it's not enough force to have the apple go through that. It really takes all of that together. So that's the only drawback with this if you don't want your apple to be sliced, because that's the slicer right there. Okay, so I'm going to continue to do this till all my apples are ready, and I'm going to go ahead and chop them up in little bite-sized pieces, or even smaller than bite-sized, really, because you want to be able to spread it on a piece of toast or a bagel or something yummy, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're over here at the stove because we need to cook this. This is my apples, and you can see that they're very finely chopped, but it's a rough chop, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go ahead, let me turn that so you can see, put these in the pot, and then let me see, I've got a spatula here. Just put all these in here. And you know, I know they've turned a little bit brown, but that's okay because you're going to have all kinds of spices in there. This is going to be like an apple pie filling. That's a jam, and it's so good. Okay. So we've got them in there. And we are going to go ahead and combine 2 cups of apple juice. Now, this is already prepared apple juice. For the other batches, I'm going to make my own apple juice like I was telling you earlier, but I had this on hand, and we are going to put 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in the pot. 1 tablespoon. Give it a nice tart flavor. Now, the recipe does recommend that you combine Granny Smith apples because that has tartness, but these are mostly sweet apples except for the wine sap. They do have tartness. So Willis doesn't really like Granny Smith, so I go with what we like. And you guys can too. And as far as the size of the apples, I tried to pick out as many medium size as I could so they all were uniform. And that's kind of like if you go to the store and buy a bag of apples, that's what they'll be. You don't usually have the giant ones. In those boxes there, I have anywhere from small to giant. So try to get 8 cups, and it was 8 apples that I went ahead and prepared for that and chopped up. Okay, so then what we're going to put in here too is the juice of 1 small lemon. Now I had large lemons, so I used half of that. And we're going to go ahead and combine this. Just pour that right in there. And it also wants the zest of that lemon. And I zested it, and I also chopped it up a little bit finer. There you go. And a pinch of salt. So my pinch of salt is probably quarter teaspoon for all you people that have to measure out there, because I know there's a lot of people that like to measure. So say a pinch is a quarter teaspoon, which would be that tiny one right there. Okay, so what we're going to do is just mix this up, and we are going to turn on the heat. And it says bring to medium boil, so I'm going to turn on medium high. Now, I haven't made this in a year, so I do have to use the recipe. The next few I won't have to. This is just kind of a seasonal thing for me because we always have a lot of it over there. And this is kind of a different thing to make with your apples. We make apple jelly and apple butter and stuff. I do dried apples in the dehydrator, apple pie filling. We make a lot of apple things. I've got a lot of apple recipes I'm going to share with you since I've got all these apples. So be prepared for apple, bombarding with apple. And oh, we bought 2 boxes of sweet potatoes too. If you saw my video the other day when I was digging sweet potatoes, you know I didn't get very many this year. So we went ahead and bought 2 big boxes. And 1 box is going to go to Kelly. So they love them too. And they got a lot of good sweet potatoes over there where they live. So anyway, we love sweet potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this. And I'm going to bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to turn it down on low and let it simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll bring you guys back to show you what the boil looks like. And we'll continue from there. I was having a senior moment. Okay, guys, I'm back. I want to show you where we wanted this to come to a boil. And it's kind of going to be a rolling boil. You don't want to be able to stir it down. And I'm keeping my lid on it because I've learned with apples over the years, this will keep, you see all the water on there? That's the steam. That'll keep all that water in there. You don't want them to dry out because you want that juice in there. So in the meantime, I've got all my spices ready because this is going to be a jam and it's going to have pectin in it. So when we get to the point where we have to put the sugar and the pectin in it, it's going to have to be ready. So have all your stuff ready. 3 cups of white sugar, 3 tablespoons of powdered pectin. I've got Sure-Gel, the regular, and I measured out 3 tablespoons, and there's also 3 tablespoons for another batch, so 6 altogether in 1 box, so that's pretty good. Okay, and oh, I did want to show you something else. I was out of ground ginger, and one of the things that we do, that I like to do, is buy my spices whole. Now, this is from Rural King, and I grind them up in the little grinder here. I got off of Amazon. It was like $18, and that really saves you some money, because if you buy stuff that's pre-ground, you're paying for that. This way you're going to get a lot more out of this, because look how much is in there. Let's see, what is this? Almost 3 ounces of whole cloves, and I ground it, and this is beautiful. Oh, it smells like Christmas in here. And the same thing with nutmeg. Whole nutmeg, if you can find it, is a nut, and you can grind it or you can grate it. And that saves you a lot of money if you don't want to buy pre-ground spices. That's what we do. So I've got all that ready. Just waiting 10 minutes here for this to boil. We're going to turn it down to medium because we are at a rolling boil there. And we will be back. Oh, let me tell you one other thing. This makes 5 8-ounce jars. I've got 6 ready, just in case, you never know. But this is the size, so that's a half pint, which is 8 ounces. So I've got them over here in warm water. They're clean, ready to go. I've got my lids in my rings over here, and they're going to be ready to go too. This takes a boiling water bath, so I'm going to go grab my canner, get it on the stove, and have it simmering and ready. And as soon as all that is ready, when this is ready, we'll continue. All right, I am back. It has been 12 minutes. These apples are nice and tender, and that's what you want. So if you went for 10 and you don't think they're quite as tender, but you can kind of feel they're tender, because apples get kind of mushy, but you don't want them to get too mushy where they are falling apart. You want them to kind of keep their shape. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and sprinkle all of our spices in here. The spices are cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, ground ginger, and ground nutmeg. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and mix that in. As you can see, it's turning it a nice, lovely brown, spicy. Oh, it smells so good in there. color. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and sprinkle 3 tablespoons of powdered pectin, which again I'm using the Sure Gel. Go ahead and mix that. And we are going to turn this back up on high, which will be medium high for me because my stove is a little bit wonky. Okay, coming down to a full rolling boil. And we want that to be where we can't stir it down before we add the 3 cups of white sugar. And then once we add the 3 cups of white sugar, we're going to go ahead and boil for 1 minute. And that sets the pectin. And you don't want to overboil with using pectin because it actually can break it down and so it won't set at all. So it's kind of funky. All right, it is definitely boiling. Make sure I can't stir it down. I kind of can stir it down. So I'm just going to let it get to a little bit more of a boil. Let me turn that up just a tad. All right, that looks good to me. You can see it boiling in there. And we are going to add all of the sugar at once. 3 cups. And I want to fold it in there. Or mix it in there. Kind of both. Oh boy, it smells so good. Okay. And as soon as I get that all mixed in there, as you can see, it was really fast. It's kind of got a little gloss to it. All right. And we are going to bring this back to a boil. And again, boil it for 1 minute only. And then we'll put it in our jars. I've got my water bath canner over here. This is a water bath canner if you're not familiar. If you don't have that, you can use a stock pot as long as it's big enough to cover your jars, which these are small, but you want to have at least a 1-inch headspace of water over with water bath canning. It's different from pressure canning. Pressure canning, you have just a little bit of water in there. You don't have it over your jars. So we are going to go ahead and bring this to a boil, and then I will be back. Let me see if I can turn this off. Okay, guys, so it boiled for 1 minute, and you want to be very careful with this, as in all jellies or jams that you're making, because it's molten lava once the sugar's in there, and if you get it on your skin, it's going to cause some burns. So be very careful. So I boiled it for the 1 minute, and I removed it from the heat, and I brought my water bath canner over. I'm going to go and turn this off over here. Okay, I've got my canning funnel, which you're going to need. I recommend it because it fits right into your jar. I've got everything ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour all these waters in here. Now this is hot water that I've got in these half-pint jars. I don't like to waste water, so it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, I guess. All right, so what we're going to do now is ladle this wonderful jam into these jars, leaving a 1-inch head or half-inch headspace. Half-inch headspace, yep. Okay. Oh, it smells so good in here, my goodness. Now you want to make sure you get the apple and the juice, because it kind of does separate a teeny bit in here when it's just sitting. So you just mix it a little bit at a time. So it takes about a ladle and a half of each. I always find that interesting. Okay, this is definitely going to make more than what it called for. I thought it would. I couldn't remember from last year. So there we go. And I see I've got a little bit too much in that one. All right. So I'll get some more jars ready. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is go ahead and wipe all my rims, which I think you guys can see. Stop touching hot stuff, Denise. You want to wipe all your rims to get any sticky off. One thing about using the ladle and the canning funnel is you don't usually get a whole lot of sticky or debris on there, which is nice. But you do want to go ahead and just do that step where you're wiping your lids and your rims, because anything is there, it might not allow the lid to seal. Okay, so I need some more. I always keep these on hand. I tried some off-brand, boy, and that was really bad. I don't want to get sued for anything, so I'm not going to say the name, but it started with P and ended with an R. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just hand tighten these. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? Look, it's so pretty. And we are going to water bath can these for 10 minutes. Oops. Butterfingers today. Now you can either just go ahead and put these in here like this. It's not very hot. I'm going to put my thing down there. Okay, let me go ahead and turn that so you can actually see what I'm doing. There you go. And like I said, just hand tight. You don't want to tighten them for all you're worth, because you want this to be able to contract and expand, contract and expand. That's how canning works. Okay. And I got to get another lid. Got some over here. Okay, that's going to keep that warm. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and get probably 4 more in there. So I'll be right back. Okay, it made 10 of these half pints. So that was 4 more, like I said. I've got had to add some more water in here. So that is about an inch over the jar. So I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on there. And you want your lid on. You want to bring it to a full rolling boil. And then we're going to start our count for 10 minutes. You don't want to have it just kind of moving. You want to start it to come to a full rolling boil. I know a lot of people don't, and you can get in trouble that way because you want this to can, and that creates the pressure for the lids to seal and seal, for shelf life. So we will be back as soon as these are done. I'm not going to show you what a full rolling boil is, because I've showed you that twice already with the apples, but it's just rolling boil. You can't stir it down if you were to stir it down. And if it gets to be too crazy in there, you can turn your heat down just a tad, but you want to keep it at a rolling boil the whole time you're canning this. Okay, so we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, guys, I have got all of my jars out. They're beautiful. I'm not going to handle them because they are scalding hot, but here they are. I hope you can see the color. It's just a really nice, warm, caramely color, just like it would be if you had apple pie. So apple pie jam. I hope you give it a try. I'll have the full recipe in the description box like I normally do. And you just want to leave this here for at least 12 hours or overnight, which I will do. And then tomorrow I'll remove the rings and put them away and wait for whoever needs it to have it. They're great Christmas gifts. Oh, and I also have another recipe coming up as soon as fresh cranberries come out. It's called Christmas Jam, and it has cherries, cranberries, and blueberries in it, I think. Oh, man. And it's got some nice warm, I think it's got cloves, cinnamon, ginger, the nice warm Christmassy spices, kind of like this, but with those. Oh, it's making me salivate just thinking about that, because I am a cranberry fan. So if you like cranberries and it's called Christmas jam, that'd be something else that you could make for Christmas gifts. I mean, this is really simple. It's fast. I mean, the hardest part is just preparing your fruit. But just one of those things, but you know you did it with love, and that's what matters. Well, listen, if you like, share, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I hope to see you real soon with some more apple recipes I know that are coming up. See you soon. Bye.